Hej alle sammen og rigtig hjertelig velkommen til Danske Bassister. Jeg er stadigvæk udfordret i forhold til at have gæster her i det lille studie, og derfor så er jeg i gang med en plan C, som er at transformere et interview, jeg har lavet med bassisten Halfdan E på engelsk til en dansk version, hvor vi har danske undertekster under. Og det tager vildt lang tid, og derfor er den delt op i to. Den første del af den, I kan få lov at se nu her. Og så laver jeg en del 2 klar, så hurtigt det nu engang kan lade sig gøre. Det tager som sagt helt vildt lang tid. Men jeg håber, I vil hænge på. I må også gerne skrive nedenunder, om I synes, det er top unødvendigt at have undertekster, eller det faktisk er en lille smule leks at kunne følge med på skærmen også, når vi snakker stærkt og hurtigt på engelsk. Og ellers så håber jeg, I vil nyde det, og husk at subscribe og like, og hvis I mangler noget at se, så er der den engelske udgave af kanalen, hvor I kan se hele interviewet i sin fulde længde, uden undertekster. Og der er også et par ekstra afsnit, som jeg vil gå i gang med at undertekst på et tidspunkt, når jeg får tid, hvis der er interesse for at se noget om danske bassister på den her måde. Vi ses. Hej. Hi there everyone and welcome to Artist Talks. Today is a special day because my guest is a very famous film composer, and I'd like to get into his background and career. He's been making music for what you know worldwide, maybe the series called Born, and his name is Halfdan E. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, Halfdan.
Thank you.
What do they call you abroad?
I'm not sure they call me very famous, but I'm very...
Yeah, but just very...
Halfdan, mostly,
yeah,
I think.
Halfdan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm?
And the name is, you were born Nielsen and then you became Halfdan E. Why was that?
Well, during the mid-80s,
Yeah.
it was sort of, common day things to change your name in order to become famous.
Yeah.
Which we did back at high school,
You were famous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a small group of people that changed names in order to become famous.
Yeah.
So
you did? Was it a career move?
It was supposedly a career move and a bad joke, really. But I mean, I've been thinking lately of going back to Nielsen, but I lack the courage.
Yeah, no. Halfdan E is a very
frightening
good name. Yeah, because people know who you are now.
Yeah, at least I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. You were born in the mid-60s?
Right.
Yeah, and you decided to play bass. When did you do that?
Well, actually, I started guitar at the age of 12.
At the age of 12?
Yeah, with my tennis racket and one foot on the imaginary monitor.
What music was that?
That was heavy metal.
That was heavy metal,
Or, at the time, it was Deep Purple, which was, Uriah Heep, stuff like that. But, at high school, during the 80s, most people wanted to play guitar and nobody wanted to play the bass. So I thought, okay, let's try it.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be the most powerful instrument of them all, I think.
Yeah, it is. But we're both bass players, and I think that's one of the reasons I actually came to know you in the first place, because you were playing bass in a famous Danish band called Leider, which sounds German, actually. Yeah, Danske Bassister. Yeah. And it was founded by 2 brothers. Yeah. The Georg brothers and Morten K.
Yeah, exactly.
And
at least at the stage when I entered the band, it was Morten,
Yeah. And you did they were a kind of a kids rock band, and then they grew and they got you in the band and you did a huge hit in Denmark.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I joined in 83.
I got something.
Okay,
I want to show
great,
you.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, the DX7.
How old were you then?
84, 85, I must have been, 20, maybe. Yeah.
Now you're 18.
No, I'm 18.
Yeah. See, that's where we see you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Heavy glasses, eh?
Very.
And a nice hairdo.
The glasses of the day, they were supposed to be heavy, goggles, really. I mean.
So that was a song called Dynamite. You and I.
It's very 80s,
Very 80s.
Lots of hair.
Stop it. Hey. Yeah. it became a huge hit.
Yeah, it did. It did actually. It turned out to be a problem, you know, because we wanted to move on and do more stuff. But whenever we did something, people would say, couldn't you just drop by and play Dynamite?
Yeah.
and it actually culminated when we did a job in Jutland where we thought, okay, let's start with this song.
Yeah.
Just to see what happens.
Yeah.
And let's get it over with.
Yeah.
It's a lovely song, you know, but and so we played it as the first song, and after that song, you know, everybody went outside and we were totally alone on
You
stage.
gave them what they came for.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think we learned a lesson there. But we couldn't really move on from that song. We couldn't top it.
No.
So we had to what do you say?
Did you split?
Split the band in I think 87 or something like that.
Yeah. Mm. But
88 maybe.
You played bass.
I played bass.
And you lived in Roskilde, town in Denmark.
Yeah, beautiful town.
Yeah. Mm. And what I heard, as you were a teacher in bass playing.
Yeah. I did. Yes, I did that. Yeah. At the age of 18, it turned out that there were no ways to learn bass in Roskilde, which is a city with a huge population of what, 60,000, I think, with the whole Roskilde. So I started teaching bass. Yeah. And I did that for 10 years actually. Went to the conservatory, is still teaching, and it was great, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Guitar, bass, what do you call it? Band playing. Yeah. Different stuff.
Samspil in Danish.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good thing to teach when you are educating yourself.
Yeah, but I learned that if you actually teach people something, you get better at it yourself because you have to think about how to explain what you're doing.
It's true. Yeah.
So, and that's maybe why you are able to handle more instruments now as a grown-up when you compose.
Well, actually, I think it's not a matter of controlling more instruments. I think it's a matter of losing control, really. Yeah. It's a matter of I mean, when you've played an instrument for 20 years, you get this muscular memory. Yeah. So no matter what guitar I sit down with, I'll end up with some Beatles song or something. Yeah. You know, it ties you to a certain repertoire. Yeah. While playing piano, which I'm not very good at, it's always new ground. So I mean, and that's for me. It seems that ideas pop up when I do something I'm not good at. Yeah. Or you know, generally lose control. So it's a method I can hardly recommend.
But then you tried to live as a bass player because you actually entered a few other bands in Denmark.
Oh yes, I did. Yeah.
Perhaps I got a CD. You and Nana were on tour with the band.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Laid Back.
Laid Back as well.
Yeah. And that's probably where things started.
I forgot they had a band, but that's true.
No, they did.
They toured actually.
For a few years we toured, you know, all over Europe.
Sunshine.
Yeah, or more, maybe even the White Horse. Yeah. Or Bacon Man. Yeah. Great songs. Huge hits. Yeah.
And you played bass on the tour?
I did, yes. Yeah.
And you were an endorsed bass player as well.
Yeah, because what's the name? Warwick. Sorry, it's silly, but I mean, usually I tend to forget things. I'm 80, so I'm excused. Yeah. Anyways, Warwick had just entered Denmark, and they wanted a face on, you know. Yeah. So we were a couple of bass players that got endorsed from, which was a great thing. They built me a totally yellow bass. I was very much into Prince at the time, so I thought, well, let me have a totally yellow instrument. Yeah. And they did that, and we went on tour in Switzerland, I think. Yeah. And the next morning, because it stayed in the bus. Yeah. Next morning, all the lacquer has just
cracked,
exploded. Yeah. Because they forgot to. Normally, they would treat the wood with beeswax or something. Yeah. And they forgot to pull off that beeswax before they lacquered it, so it just exploded.
So you went from a yellow bass to a kind of a...
Yeah, and back to a yellow bass because, I mean, can't use this. Do something about it, please.
So did they give you another one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Great instrument, though.
So you still got them?
Yes. I play them a lot.
Yeah. And then...
I'm not endorsed in it all.
No, but you still play them?
I love them. Great instruments.
And then there was another band who should have had a worldwide hit with a song called My Girl and Me, Gangway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And you went to play bass with them as well.
Yeah, I did for a couple of years, I think. 1 year, 2 years, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been around as a bass player?
I've been around.
As a bass player.
Actually, I think my career ended temporarily with 3 years with Paul Krebs, and we did maybe 18, 90 jobs.
18, 19
mostly
jobs,
of them in Jutland every year. It was, going by trains and buses and ferries all the time. It was just so tiring,
Yeah.
So when I had my first child, and
you tend
sort of I went out of live music for a period.
But then you bought a Mirage.
No, we had the Mirage.
Sampler.
Yeah, we had the Mirage with the hex display. It was terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
later on I bought a sampler when I'd finished my rhythmic conservatory in Copenhagen, because I thought, okay, because all the while being a sideman, I had written songs and done demos and fiddled around with sound.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, now's the time I have to do something besides being a sideman.
Yeah.
So I bought my first Ensoniq sampler, EPS 16 Plus, with 2 megabytes of RAM. Amazing stuff. 2
megabytes.
Yeah.
It was huge.
No, that's too much RAM.
Yeah, and it was 16 bits, so it's actually sounding okay.
It was actually, yeah.
Yeah, but that put you in another trail, and you became famous for being able to handle samples.
Yeah, exactly. Because what happened is that I bought it because I loved hip hop, not especially hip hop, but just the approach that you can do whatever with a 12-bit sampler and pick small pieces of your favorite records and put them together. Yeah, sort of like a collage. But then, having bought that sampler, I found out you can sample anything. Yeah. And actually, it started with do you recall Bombastic?
Yeah.
Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
And they'd sampled a part of a Quincy Jones.
That's crazy.
Great song. And you can also sample jazz. Yeah. Hey, you can't just limit yourself to beats. I mean, back in the day, it was mostly sugar, sugar. It was like okay, or a bass drum.
You know who wrote this song, by the way?
No.
Prince did.
He did.
Yeah.
That as well.
Yeah.
Never stopped surprising me. I mean, he did so much in so short time.
Yeah.
But the thing was that I started buying the cheaper the better. Every vinyl I could get hold of with Hawaii music or jazz music or 100 banjos or whatever. The more silly the cover, the better the record usually was. And I put that together in new ways. Yeah, it wasn't new ways, but I think the moment I mounted it with poetry, it started working.
But how the hell did you get into this combination of poetry and sampled music?
Well,
can I explain a bit?
Yeah, please do.
A Danish writer called Dan Turéll, and I'm not sure. I'd like to ask you: is he out in other countries than Denmark? Because he is huge in Denmark.
We did it in American actually.
You did?
Yeah, because I had a letter 10 years after Dan died. I had a letter from a guy who just wanted to say, well, I've translated most of his lyrics, and I come from Queens. I've been putting them out in small magazines in the States, and they like it. So I thought, okay, I'll call him up because we had so many dreams back then of what we wanted to do. We wanted to do in American, and we wanted to tour and stuff. Yeah. And that never happened. So
no, because Dan unfortunately died.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, we have the Little Mermaid, and we have Danish cookies, and it's well, what do you give the tourists when they come to Copenhagen? Why not give them some jazz and poetry?
Yeah, but how did you get in touch with Dan? How did that?
Well, my idea was to go from hip hop to some kind of Danish poetry on top of pop music, basically. Yeah. But I wanted not, highbrow poetry that very few people would understand. I wanted somebody eyesight, and there was only one, and that was Dan Turéll. Yeah.
And what did he say about the approach then? Because you approached him then.
The funny thing is that well, the moment I thought it, I've been living door to door with him without meeting him ever.
You have?
At the moment I thought, I got to call Dan.
Yeah.
But I lack the courage. I'm only 7. I was 27,
Yeah.
And totally clean without any merits on my CV.
Yeah.
I started meeting him.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Yeah.
I met him, and at the 4th time I met him somewhere in Copenhagen, it was like, okay, somebody's trying to tell me something. Okay, I'll bloody call him then.
Yeah.
And I called him and he said, well, I've been expecting you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said that. And it was that. I mean, very generous to say that.
Yeah.
I guess he was expecting someone, but no. So we met and had a few beers and found out that we had the same record collection and like the same books, and it was
fantastic.
sort of, the beginning of something really great.
Yeah.
So that was the start.
Yeah.
And then we did the record, and he died like 6 months after the release.
Yeah.
No, 4 months.
Yeah,
It's
strangely.
like snap.
Yeah.
Cancer,
Yeah.
And it became sort of a household progressive music item in Denmark.
Yeah. Yeah, it sold really well.
It did,
Denmark.
yeah. I mean, for music and poetry, well.
Yeah, very well.
Yeah. But,
did you have your own studio by then, or how did you record it?
No, it was, there was a term back then called bedroom Jesus, which I think a lot of us were. We were like, our own small gods in our bedrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it in my bedroom, yeah. Exactly.
So you sampled his voice, it's not recorded like that? It's
no,
sampled.
because, he was touring a lot back then. So he said, okay, I'll let me know which lyrics you want me to read.
Yeah.
And I'll drop by and read them. So he did on cassette tape.
On cassette tape?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I built the music around his speech.
Yeah.
And later on we would go to a studio and he would do it all again.
Redo, okay.
Yeah.
To get a bit better quality.
But of course my idea was that he should read on top of the music, but that didn't work out.
No.
So we made it the other way around.
Yeah.
I made the music around his voice.
Yeah. So he was not rhythmical like that.
Oh, very. He is, but I mean, he's got his own rhythm. He's like, an atomic clock. He was very into music.
Bands, and he wrote lyrics for Osted Kreuzfeld.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And I think he did commercials as well. I mean, on the what do you call it? Aliases.
Aliases name. Yeah.
Exactly. But I think at some point he wanted to be a musician.
Yeah.
When he was young, but I mean that didn't work out.
No.
And he was better with words, so that became his.
Yeah.
But he never left the music, and I think he wrote a few books about touring with an imaginary band.
Yeah. I read one.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember.
Very romantic approach to music.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember he told you something about educating bass because that's the way you lived by then.
Yeah, but we're in '93 now, and it's I've been teaching for 10 years or something like that, and I was a bit tired,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to become a tired teacher, I mean the ones we grew up with. I mean, angry and tired.
Yeah.
So I was very reluctant because it was a good money, and I could do what I wanted to do besides teaching. But he said, you should quit it. I think it's all right now.
Yeah.
I think you're done with that.
Yeah.
So
you did?
I did.
How was that?
Scary as hell.
So you've been a professional musician.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, actually you have been since you started teaching.
Yeah, you might say that. Yeah, but I mean touring and producing records and stuff since '93. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive as a composer, musician, really.
But I mean, it's I mean, in order to live from music, you have to work your ass off.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a fact.
Yeah.
No matter how lucky you are. I mean, and luck you need. But I mean, it takes a lot of work. So.
But that was kind of a turning point, starting to record with Dan and releasing an album that got a success.
Yeah.
What happened from then? Yeah, and he died, so you couldn't really continue in that field.
It was strange because, but it's usually like that. I think that we couldn't find a record company who wanted to give it out to release it.
No.
Because they thought either it would be too much pop, or it would be too much lyrics.
Yeah.
But to me it was, yes, I'm sitting on both chairs. I'm not sitting between them.
No.
So we found a record company, and it became a success. And all of a sudden, people started phoning me. Do you want? Could you produce a record, maybe? Or have you ever tried film music?
Producer?
Yeah, one part saw me as a producer, another said, "Well, actually, Halfdan, that's film music you're doing."
Yeah.
Have you ever? And which I haven't, because I wasn't into that. So I started doing both.
You started doing short films, or
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
for the film school,
film school films. Stuff.
Yeah. So I got a little pay that way, and
probably not. No. It's something you. I mean, you put yourself in a position to earn money at some point.
Yeah. But that turned out good at
the
end,
end.
so
it
you
did.
can do that. But you did film music, and what did you do else?
Well, I think I was still touring, and then at a point I thought, okay, Dan is dead. I think I must have been touring with Leider back actually at the time.
Yeah.
Because I had so much material left, I thought, okay, I want to make a second record from that.
Yeah.
But some of the poems are very short, so I want to do,
stretch them.
To stretch them. So I called Steffen Brandt.
Yeah.
Of
I
Danish fame.
tell you, Steffen Brandt is the lead singer of another famous Danish band called TV2. Yeah. And they had a long career before you talked to them. He's a wonderful poet as well.
Very,
songwriter.
And a great performer. And I called him and said, "Well, Steffen, could you maybe write the second verse, because I need a verse."
Did you know him by then?
No, I did not. I did not. It was equally scary. To call one of your, what do you call it, peers?
Yeah, it's a hero of mine as well.
A hero. You could just say, let's be frank.
Yeah.
To call one of your heroes and say, "Could you do a second verse?" And he said, "Well, I could, on one condition, which is that you have to produce something for my band." It was like,
what?
Okay. I'm ready for that.
I'll do that.
I'm ready for that.
Yeah. But did you have skills as a producer?
Well, no, not per se. I mean, I had to invent. I think I worked on the first Dan Turéll record for 3 years.
Yeah.
Gradually finding out how to do stuff.
Yeah.
So basically what Steffen offered me was a chance to do it for real. Yeah. With a real band in real studios, and it was kind of scary at first.
But when I was younger, I thought as a producer, as a guy who was in the studio and decided what to record and how to record it and make sure that it sounded fantastic. Yeah. But could you do all the skills? Now I found out that it's maybe different a bit of the technique. The technicians sometimes make sure that it sounds good, and you just decide what is going in and what is going out.
Exactly.
How was your role?
Well, I guess what Steffen had seen was that actually I've been, the whole of this record, the first one I did, the cover was me, the label inside, the vinyl was me, the choice of songs was me. It was me all over the place, basically. So in a way, I was already producing, although I didn't see myself as a producer.
No.
But what you have to do is you have to be able to zoom out as a producer and see the whole product as a product, really, which is not very many people, in this day of age, probably it's changing. But back then it was like, oh no, going to bed with the devil. Yeah. Like thinking of my music as a product. Yeah. It's but I've been doing that from day one, so it was within reach. It doesn't make sense to create something that nobody will use, because then I've been wasting my time. Yeah. No matter how good it is. Yeah. So I prefer to work on something that I know as much as I can that people want to buy or listen to or experience live. So
I want to show you something.
Great.
Yeah. You can listen to this one. Can you hear what it says?
Oh yeah, from the very beginning. Yeah, sure.
Who's playing the guitar? Is that
me? At least some of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's.
We'll stop again because it's. We can. We'll show you the song. There you go.
Yeah. Basically, when you work with an old band like TV2, and they've been working for ages, they've been working since the late 70s, I think. Yeah. So when you have a new producer coming into the room, he or she has to bring something to the table. So what we did was that Steffen recorded his songs on cassette tapes.
Yeah.
With an acoustic guitar,
Yeah.
and he sent me those tapes.
Yeah.
And then I started building, like just like always been doing, you know,
Yeah.
building a small world around him.
Yeah.
So I mean, invariably, it's a lot of that stuff is played by me.
Yeah.
Then we took it to the studio and dubbed drums and
Yeah.
violins, and we had a string quartet. That was
Really? How was that?
that was scary.
That was the
so
first string quartet you
that
did?
was my first string quartet ever.
How was that?
That was terrifying.
Yeah.
I was so scared, you know.
Yeah.
I'd been using the whole night at my hotel room writing sheets for them, and it was.
Yeah. Could you do that? You learned that at the
Yeah, I could,
Yeah.
but you know, I'd never written a string quartet. I mean, and it's, you know, calling up a string quartet. Could you come to my studio tomorrow? Yes. Yeah. In the event that you have this and this money,
Yeah.
we can. So
Yeah.
it's a costly affair, isn't
Yeah.
it? So it's quite scary. I mean, if what you've written sounds like rubbish,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like and I really didn't want to ruin
No.
anything, so I was scared. But it turned out well.
Yeah.
Also because, again, I think a part of the reason it turned out well is that I can't write for strings.
No.
So, I mean...
You used your ear instead.
Yeah, I mean, it's coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah. Really?
Pure luck.
Pure luck. You ever wake
you
up...
take a chance and it turns out well. I mean, it could have turned out horrible.
Yeah.
But
you didn't get busted, so you succeeded anyway.
Not at that time, later on.
Later, you got busted later.
Yeah, I got... Yeah. Exactly, for a different job.
Working with them was kind of a way of learning how to produce then, because
It
they must
was,
have brought
yeah.
something to the table for you as well.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
It was. And back then it was very much hardware. So I would bring my poor little samplers and synthesizers on this wagon.
You did?
Yeah,
That's
by
right.
train to Aarhus.
Really?
Yeah, and come up with this wagon to the studio, and it was like, oh man, it was all very pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that was the way to do it, and then we would probably have the sketches on diskette for the
Floppy
Atari
disk.
computer. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, on floppy disks. Exactly.
Yeah.
It was, you know, cassette tape back and forth.